Hello, my name is Blair Spence, and today we'll be talking about the Battle of Ligny. Alright, let's begin. After Napoleon abdicated on the 6th of April 1814, he went to Elba, where he was made Prince of Elba and was given a stipend of 2 million francs per year by the French. During Napoleon's time in Elba, he developed the island's iron mines, oversaw construction of new roads, issued decrees on modern agriculture methods, overhauled the island's legal and education system, and created a small army and navy. Meanwhile, in France, King Louis XVIII was making himself unpopular with his French subjects. He kept unpopular taxes to pay off the debt, slashed military spending, and problems between the Bourbons and imperial aristocracies. On the 26th of February 1815, Napoleon escaped Elba and landed at Gouvion on March 1st, where he was warmly received and headed for Grenoble, where on the 5th, the 5th Infantry Regiment would join Napoleon en masse, and the next day Napoleon was confronted by the 7th Infantry Regiment. Napoleon walked up to them, opened his coat, and said, "If you want to kill your emperor, here I am." Soon, the 7th Infantry Regiment shouted, "Vive la Breur!" and they joined Napoleon, and Napoleon marched to Paris. Meanwhile, in Paris, Louis XVIII got news of Napoleon's return, and Marshal Ney told King Louis, "I'll bring him back in an iron cage." But when they confronted Napoleon at Ussel, they would end up joining Napoleon. King Louis, realizing that the jig was up, and fled Paris to Belgium on the 19th of March, with Napoleon entering the city the following day. In Vienna, as the Allies were carving up Europe, they got news that Napoleon had returned to power, and the Allies declared war on Napoleon himself and began to mobilize their armies, with Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, took command of an Allied army of Brits, Dutch, Belgians, Hanoverians, Nassau, and Brunswickers in the Low Countries. The war was not what Napoleon and his supporters wanted. Due to unrest in royalist southwest France, Napoleon mobilized his army and managed to muster 280,000 men and marched his army of 122 men to the Low Countries to face Wellington's army and the Prussian army under the command of Blucher. Blucher set up his army in a strong defensive position, with the stream in front of him and trees and villages protecting his 83,400 strong army. Napoleon deployed his 63,000 strong army to surround the Prussians at Ligny, then defeat them in detail. The battle began at 3 p.m. where General Van Damme ordered to attack the Prussians at Saint-Amand and La Haye, driving them out of the villages. Meanwhile, General Giard ordered his corps to attack Ligny, but got bogged down at the bridge due to heavy resistance by the Prussians. Napoleon ordered General Dillon's corps to attack the Prussian right flank, but at 4 p.m. the Prussians launched a counterattack and retook Ligny, but a French counterattack pushed them back across the stream. Meanwhile, at Saint-Amand, the Prussians retook the town, which forced Van Damme to send his reserves to retake the town, which they did and opened up a gap in the Prussian center. But at La Haye, Blucher led a counterattack to retake the village, and they pushed the French out of the village. As Dillon was marching to Ligny, he got a message from Ney asking him to support him at Quatre Bras, but Dillon continued his march to support Napoleon. At 6 p.m., Van Damme sent another reserve of troops to support the French left flank and fill the gap at La Haye, just in time for the Prussians to launch an attack on the French left, which they held the line and inflicted heavy casualties on the Prussians. Napoleon sent his young guard to reinforce the French left flank after receiving reports of a large column, which turned out to be Dillon's corps, coming to Napoleon's aid, but only his advance guard would take part in the battle, with the rest of his corps marching to help Ney after receiving a report of Ney's desperate situation. At 7 p.m., the Prussians launched another attack at the French left wing, which broke the French, but the young guard launched a counterattack and pushed the Prussians back. Napoleon, seeing a majority of the Prussians were on his left flank and their position exposed, sent his Imperial Guard to Ligny and broke the Prussians. In a desperate effort to reform their line, the Westphalian Landwehr cavalry charged the Imperial Guard, but the Imperial Guard already formed square and repelled the Westphalian attack. The French would return the favor by having their cuirassiers attack the Prussian line, with them holding their own till the Imperial Guard cavalry charged and broke the Prussian line, with Blucher along with the rest of his cavalry performing a rearguard action as the infantry escaped. But as the Prussian cavalry was withdrawing, his horse was shot from under him, pinning him to the ground, with an aide coming to help him as the French cuirassiers passed them by. With fresh cavalry reinforcements, the Prussians were able to push the French cavalry back and allow Blucher to get to safety. With Blucher incapacitated, the command of the Prussian army fell to August von Gneisenau. Seeing the horrible situation that the Prussians were in, he ordered a retreat. The Prussians retreated in good order as darkness fell, with the French losing between 8,300 to 12,000 men, and the Prussians suffered 16,000 killed or wounded and 8,000 captured or missing and 21 guns captured. Napoleon had succeeded in keeping the Allied armies divided, with Gneisenau furious at Wellington for not coming to their aid. Blucher ordered his army to retreat to Rava to re-establish contact with Wellington's army. Join me next time when Napoleon faces Wellington's army at the Battle of Waterloo. If you like this video, like and subscribe. See you next time.